Okay, so we're adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers. Today, we're going to be focusing on subtracting positive and negative numbers, and we're going to be using a number line. Okay, so your first activity is going to be a time to climb today. And we're going to do Halloween because it's new and because, I like Halloween. And if anyone noticed, because no one said anything, Miss Pernis's banner is now fall themed. Choose your character and get ready. You might want to use your paper and your pencil. If you have an expo marker, you might want to write on your desk to help solve the problem. Okay, I'm going to start whether you're all in there or not. Those are some spooky looking monsters. Should I hide the names or should I keep them out? What do you think? No one cares? Okay. You get to see your names there, supper. Even going to make it smaller so you can see more of them on there. No, I haven't. No, I'm glad. Thank you. Make sure you're answering those questions. The internet is super slow today. Who's winning? Jose's winning. That's right. Remember what we were practicing last week? If you have a negative number plus a negative number, your answer is going to be what? It should end up being negative if you're just adding them together. If you're adding a negative and a positive number, you're taking the sign of the larger number. Good morning, Yuliani. I missed you. I wasn't sure where you were.
Different signs. These 8 positive, they cancel out 8 out of here.
The music is even spooky. I love it. Who won? Jose won. Well, then that should be your job to beat him. Hello. We got Jose, Luisa, and Jesus. Yeah. No round of applause, people. Round of applause. You guys stink. Okay, so we're using different models to add and subtract positive and negative numbers. So today we're doing number lines. Before we start, I want to go through real quick the changes that we have for our page. Yes? I don't know. I gotta think about it. Maybe next week. I like Kahoot. Maybe I can set it up for next week. Food for thought. Okay, so home page. I know this morning many of you were not able to get in the correct way. I fixed it with Miss Melvin and Marisol's help. We've got it. So if you go to lessons, I had some people who were not reading. And so they came here and they were like, oh, we're going to the same places always. Well, you're not going to the same places always because we started the number system. So you should be going to the number system, which is purple. Once you click on the number system, you come to this page. Obviously, it tells you what week we're on. We're on week 9 already, which, before I forget, is the last week before progress reports come out. So make sure you're on point. Notes. Your notes are now in here, but only your notes for the number system. Right now, I do have English and Spanish, but I haven't translated the Spanish ones yet. So right now, there's only English because Miss Pernas was working on this all weekend. So right now, we've got the number system, English page 1. So remember, you can use this to help you with your classwork, with your quizzes. No, we don't have a quiz coming yet, so don't worry. But all your rules are on this first page if you need it. As well as, so the calculator tab, I put it on there. You will not be using the calculator for this. So if you have your calculator tab open, I ask that you close it. So again, si tienen la calculadora abierta en la computadora, por favor, ciérrenlo porque no lo van a estar usando. Keep in mind, if you're using your calculator, you're only cheating yourself because unfortunately for this unit, you can't use it. So that means when you take your quiz this time, it will be locked. So you won't be able to switch back and forth between your calculator. Your word wall is on there as well as in the back. Your anchor charts are in there as well as in the back. I did go a little fall crazy. So your week 9 is fall, and so is your banner. Because I just, if I was already working on our page, I might as well make it cute. Any questions on how to get where or where anything is? We're good so far? Yes? No? Okay. So, moving on. So last week, and I might just come back here just to review it for a second if it lets me. Last week we went over notes on our rules. So I know some of you wrote it down. I'm sure some of you did not. These are very important. We went over integer rules for adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers. Today we're going into subtraction, but you're still going to be using these rules. So if you have a positive number plus a positive number, it equals a positive number. Because, 5 plus 3 gives you 8 and it's still positive, right? Negative number. So if you have a negative 5 plus a negative 3, you're still adding those two numbers together and it gives you a negative number. So those two should be the easiest ones for you to remember, right? Then we move into positive plus a negative number. So it all depends on which number is bigger. So if my negative number is bigger, then my answer will be negative. If my positive number is bigger, then my answer will be positive. Again, if you don't have these rules in your notes, because last week when I said write this down in your notes, you decided not to, this is probably something good for you to have in your notes, because you will be coming back to it until we take our second quiz from now. Now, we're moving into subtracting numbers. So you need to make sure you're keeping these things in mind as well. So subtracting integers, yes, I pasted this into your notebook. For those of you at home, you should be writing this down in your notebook. When you're subtracting integers, I want you to think about this in your head or out loud. You need to think of the subtraction sign as and the opposite of. So what I mean by that is this. I'm going to take 4 minus 5 and I'm going to rewrite it. So I'm going to do 4 and the opposite of. So my subtraction is going to turn into addition. My 4 stays the same. And what is the opposite of positive 5? Negative 5. So my positive 5 turns into negative 5. So my new problem is 4 plus negative 5 equals. Now you ask, why are you doing this? Well, because we've been learning our addition rules. So we want to be able to just have one set of rules that we're following. So if I have 4 plus negative 5, which number is my bigger number? 4 or 5? Which number? 5. So my answer is going to be positive or negative? It's going to be negative. So what's 4 minus 5? Or 5 minus 4? Negative 1. So we're going to go over this a little bit slower in the next slide because I know it's a little bit confusing. But yes, 4 plus negative 5 equals negative 1. So if I'm using my number line, so this that I'm writing here, I'm pretty sure it's not in your notebook, so you need to be writing it down because I copied most of this for you, but the rest of this still needs to go in your notebook. I'm starting at positive 4 and then plus negative 5. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I end right here, which is negative 1. You have a number line already on your paper. Use it. I'm pretty sure when you guys are coming in and I say, make sure you have your notebook out and a pencil. I'm not talking to myself. That means actually take out your notebook and a pencil. Oh, Miss Maria, look, I have them all.
Oh, you do? Oh, no.
I decided it was just easier like that. That also comes with the fact that, oh, I forgot my pencil at home. Let me make sure I ask, because Miss Furness always has extra pencils available. Because when she comes in at 8 o'clock in the morning, she makes sure to sharpen extra pencils for you. Okay, so -8 minus -3. So first thing we're going to do is rewrite it. And I wish I had done our criteria for success for this, but I forgot to do it for this one. So first thing we're going to do is rewrite it. So in my head, this is kind of how I remember to do it. So I remember that I have my first number, my sign, and my number, right? So I have my first number, my sign, and my second number. So I know I'm going to keep the first number the same. So my first number is going to say the same. For my sign, I'm going to switch it to addition. So it's going to be, I'm going to change it. And my second number, I'm going to do the opposite. So I want to do and the opposite of. So make sure you have this written down. Same for those of you at home. So now I'm going to do it. So my 8 stays the same. I change my subtraction to what? Addition, multiplication, division. What am I changing it to? Addition. And then my -3. What's the opposite of -3? +3. So then I just have my 3. You can do +3 if that works better for you. Oops, and I forgot my negative. My bad. I was paying attention. So now I have -8 plus 3. You cannot forget to change this. And you cannot forget to do all 3. What I see when people do it is that you do the first 2 parts and you forget the third, or you do the second 2 parts and you do something weird with the first number. Make sure you take a second, change it, and then work out your problem. So now I'm going to do it on my number line. So you're going to notice when you see this on your work, you always start at 0, right? So I'm going to start at 0 and I'm going to go to -8. So I go to -8, I put a dot. Now I'm going to do +3. If I'm doing +3, am I going to keep going to the left or am I going to go to the right? To the right. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and my answer is -5. I'm going to give you a second to write this down, and then I want us to think about something really quick. Okay, So you notice that we have -8 plus 3, correct? Does it look like we're adding the two numbers together, or does it look like we're subtracting when you look at the answer? Jesus said it. So it looks like we're subtracting. When you have a negative number and a positive number, even though you have that plus in the middle, you're actually thinking subtraction. So right now it's easy because you can use your counters, you can use your number line, the numbers are small. But when we get to bigger numbers, you need to keep in mind that when you have a negative and you have a positive, what actually happens when you're adding is unfortunately subtraction. Not because you're really subtracting, but because a negative and a positive causes that to happen. Okay, and we're going to do a couple more examples so that you guys can get comfortable with the idea. Because I know that once we get to decimals and fractions, you're going to be like, I don't know what's going on. Because it's normal. Okay, so this one you get to do on your computer. So, first thing we got to do is see, do I need to change my sign in the middle? I'm not mute. I need to hear you. Am I changing my sign in the middle? No, why not? Because what? Because it's already addition. Thank you, Randy. It's already addition, so it stays like that. So I'm going to do -4 plus -3 on my number line. I want you to try the number line. We always take a day to try something new. If, let's say, tomorrow you don't feel comfortable using the number line and you'd rather use counters, tomorrow you can use counters. But today, you're trying the number line. I see people sitting there and staring at the screen. You need to start using the screen.
And then I'm adding from that point, I should look at
If you were adding positive, you're adding another -3, not positive.
Okay, let's take a look, because I have a lot of confused people. So I need everybody's eyes up here. Okay, let's look. So I'm trying to make this so everybody understands what I'm saying. If I say it in Spanish, is everybody going to understand me? Yeah. Yes? Okay. So si tengo 4 negativos más 3 negativos, ¿ok? Lo que está sucediendo y lo que estoy viendo es que están haciendo la primera parte correcta. So empezamos en el 0, vamos hasta el 4 negativo. Ahí es mi primer número, ¿correcto? Hice mi primera parte. Yeah. Ahora voy a sumar 3 negativos. Ahora estoy viendo que lo que están haciendo es están yendo para acá. Ahora, si van a ir a la derecha, eso significa que están sumando 3 positivos, no 3 negativos. Los negativos todavía son para la izquierda. So, si el segundo número es negativo, tienen que seguir para la izquierda. So, lo que voy a hacer es voy a ir 3 números más. 1, 2, 3. Y entonces el resultado es 7 negativo. La única manera que van a ir en la otra dirección es si el segundo número es positivo. Acuérdense, si tienen 4 más 3 negativos. Si yo estuviera usando mis counters, es 1, 2, 3, 4, más 1, 2 y 3. ¿Yo puedo hacer parejas de 0 con todos mis números negativos? No, solo tengo que sumar todos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 y 7. 7 negativos. Cuando tienes los dos números negativos, siempre vas a sumar. Cuando tienes los dos números positivos, siempre vas a sumar. La única diferencia es cuando los dos números tienen una señal diferente. Ok, so vamos a intentar un problema más. Ok, so ahora tengo 6 menos 2. Ahora, ¿tengo que cambiar lo del medio? Sí. Marisol dice que sí. ¿Por qué? Because it's subtraction. So you want it to be what? Well, you want it to be addition instead of subtraction. So we're going to do this part together. Vamos a hacer esta parte juntos. Acuérdense que tienen sus 3 pasos. Tienen 6, restar y 2. Quieren que esta sea igual. Quieren que este lo vamos a cambiar. Y este vamos a hacer el opuesto. So el 6 se queda igual. El restar se va a cambiar a sumar. Y el 2 positivo se va a cambiar ¿para qué? Negativo. So vamos a tener 6 más 2 negativo. Ahora inténtenlo en la línea. This whole recording is going to get scratched.
No, you can save it as the Spanish.
Very true. Hold on, you can put it up, that is better. No. I like that, Alvin.
Guarantee that it's going to help you to make those 3 columns, because the bigger your numbers get, the more difficult it will be. If Spanish works better for you and you want to do igual, cambiar, opuesto, do it in Spanish. ¿Y qué estamos haciendo aquí? Ponte a trabajar esto ahí.
That is perfect. Very good. Very good. Check your number. You did the right direction, but I feel like you may have lost over.
Howdy, miss.
Okay, mister. What'd you get? Good. So we got 4. Again, notice positive, negative number. Your number ends up being smaller, right? Because you're actually subtracting. I don't like to say you all, yes, you're subtracting, because I'm not going to put a subtraction sign. But for those of you in our number line, we always start at 0. So we did positive 6. And then we added negative 7. Remember, your negative always goes to the left. So then once we got here, we went 1, 2. And then our answer was 4. Make sure you're checking yourself so you don't go over too many. Make sure you click submit. Okay, let's do another one. Vamos a hacer otro. So este es 8 más 3 negativo. Tengo que cambiar la señal del medio. ¿Sí o no? No. ¿Por qué? Porque ya es suma. So no le tengo que cambiar nada. So voy a hacer 8 más 3 negativo. Háganlo.
That's true. Okay, ¿cuántas 8 más menos 3?
Okay, remember, we said we're not changing anything, so you won't do this if this in the middle is subtraction.
No distracción, ¿verdad? No me espero.
Has Tina shown each number of arrows?
Mira, pero no me lo
So,
¿Y los 2 pasos a dónde están? ¿Qué pasó con el primer paso? ¿Y cuál es la respuesta? Primero, no me empezás con 0. Segundo, no me calculaste la respuesta. Pues no soy adivina.
Okay, let's go ahead and look at it. So remember, we always start at 0. So I go to 0 and I go 8. So 8 is my first number. And sometimes they'll ask you to put a little dot at your starting number. I'm not going to ask you to do that, but just keep that in mind. Plus negative 3, so am I going to the left or am I going to continue to the right? To the left. So I go 1, 2, 3. And my answer is positive 5. You can do this, or you can just leave it as 5. Either one is fine, as long as I don't think you're saying negative. I think we've got one more. I think. Yes, exit ticket. Woohoo! Ahora este lo hacen solos. Acuérdense de mirar la señal en el medio. Pregúntate, ¿tengo que cambiarlo ¿O no lo tengo que cambiar? Y asegúrense de circular su respuesta o por lo menos escribirla.
There's something that we should do. Or you can put it, yeah, you can circle that and put it back there. There you go, that's what it is.
That was perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on. And I said yes to a whole bunch of you over there. You guys didn't change your signs. You didn't either.
Only person that got it right was the person that took his time to change the signs. Yes. So fix it. Yeah, you too. Take a step, change your sign, do it again. Number 2. You too. Yes. Second person to take the time to change the signs. I hear you. Haven't checked it yet. Check number 2. Okay, so everybody that I could see got number 1 right. Well, number 1 is easy because we've been going over number 1 since last week. Number 2 is the one that people are getting wrong. I had 2 people do it right. 2 people do it right. Right over here. I said, take your time to change your sign. If you don't take your time to change your sign and you just do whatever comes to mind, you're getting it wrong. And this is small numbers. Consider when we get to decimals tomorrow and to fractions on Wednesday, how much worse that's going to go. So you have -7 minus 6, correct? So we have to same. We're changing and we're doing the opposite. I'm stealing Albin's letters. So the same is obviously -7. Changing subtraction to what? Addition. And the opposite of +6 is what? -6. So So if I have -7 plus -6, is my number supposed to get smaller? No, it's supposed to get bigger because I'm adding two negative numbers. So if I start at 0 and I go 7, and then I'm adding -6, that means I'm going to keep going to the left because my number is still negative. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I ran out of space. But you know that it's -11, and then -12, and then -13. So my answer ends up being -13.
I had it the first time I teach.
Don't doubt yourself.
I'm going negative 13 and I changed it.
Don't change it. Okay, erase. I'm going to put the link for your classwork. I know some of you have finished it, some of you have not. Can you give me a raise of hands if you finished your classwork? Levántenme la mano si terminaron su trabajo de hoy.